Ladies and gentlemen, I had a chance to talk to some of your wives the other day, and they told me this. They said, "Nick, I love my husband, but you're my favorite YouTuber." And I said, "I know, because I'm that great." I said, "Please don't say it loudly. I don't want your kids to get any ideas because I am not trying to step into a position of fatherhood." I also notified them that the NFC may be the toughest conference in all of football and sports to win. You have a conference that is loaded with elite teams all over the place. The Chicago Bears are not making the playoffs. Everyone can calm down. But if there's one thing I will tell you before the end of this intro, it is simply this. The Dallas Cowboys ain't winning shit. So let's talk about the NFC conference and what it is that we can expect. Notice right off the bat a better sense of quality. It is because today I had made the decision to get an iPhone 11 after paying off my 8. And I already can tell that there is a world of a difference on the video quality and audio quality aspect of things. So that's something I am looking forward to. Better quality is a bonus for everyone, and there is no negative drawing out of that. I'm going to talk about everything in the NFC here in this video. And as all of you know, the NFC is loaded with some of the most elite teams in football. And it has been a complete war to the standpoint of, prior to their last loss this week, the Vikings were 8-3 and fighting for their lives for a wild card spot. That means that clearly the AFC is not that good. A team like in the NFC is fighting for their life. We're going to go over all the teams like we've done in the AFC schedule as well, and we're going to talk about what it is that they need to do and what are their chances, because I do believe that if the Ravens do not blow everyone out of the water, that the Super Bowl will be won by the NFC, particularly if the Patriots somehow find their way to the Super Bowl again. They will not win. The first team we're going to talk about is the worst team in the NFC that has a chance to win the playoffs. I want to make note that I did not include the Eagles in this list. I honestly didn't feel that they deserve it, and I think that it's really difficult to see them making their way to the playoffs. The first team that I have to go for is a team that I also think will get dominated, and that's the Dallas Cowboys. Now, again, they started off the season red hot, and they've fallen to a complete pile of crap since then. The team is currently 6-6 and leads the NFC East. And one of the things I also want to make notice of is that the team is 6-6, and it is also, to my knowledge, that there is no team that could win this division with more than 9 wins, and that's just pathetic. They obviously did not win the Bears Thursday night. They got the LA Rams, who are also still fighting for an NFC wildcard spot. Week 15, they got the Eagles 16 and the Redskins 17. So if they're able to turn this around somehow, they could still win out. However, Week 16 could be a crucial matchup for the Dallas Cowboys as they are taking on the Philadelphia Eagles, and that could be the difference maker in the NFC East division. They did not win to the Bears, and for some reason, I do not think they will beat the Rams either. I think, honestly, there's a good chance that the team that wins the NFC East can finish 8-8, and that is terrible because an 8-8 team, to me, is not really deserving of the playoffs, certainly not a division title. The Cowboys will do absolutely nothing in the playoffs, and I'm telling you this right now. If we're talking about the Dallas Cowboys in the beginning of the season, I'd say, let's see what they got. Right now, the way that their level of play is, the Dallas Cowboys will walk into the playoffs and they will get absolutely bodied in the first round by whoever it is that they play, because they're just not very good. There's no way in hell. I don't think they're the worst team in the world, but they are massively overrated, and we all know this. The Cowboys will not win anything in the playoffs, so do not get any excited. If they make the playoffs, they have a chance to make it interesting, depending on who they play. But they are also in the NFC conference, and I think that every other team on this list would beat the hell out of the Cowboys in the playoffs. Cowboys predicted to win the NFC East. They won't do much else. The Green Bay Packers have massively surprised some people this season. They currently lead the NFC North. Now, here's the thing with the Packers. We know Aaron Rodgers has it, but does anyone else on this team have it? Week 14, they got the Redskins. 15, the Bears. 16, the Vikings. And 17, the Lions. Their defense has been a question mark. Their defense went from being unbelievable in the beginning of the season to now being a bit of a question mark. Aaron Jones has slowed down the run game, and the team is still 9-3. They lead the NFC North. Assuming that they won't lose these games, there is a possibility that Week 16 could be a matchup that could go towards deciding the division in the NFC North. I still think that the Packers are going to win the NFC North, but the Vikings are right on their tail. So if they start to slip up, they will not. But I don't think they will, and I think that they will actually win out starting this Sunday, and they will be 13-3 this year. The Vikings could make that interesting. Playoffs. Home field is crucial to the Packers because they do so well in home field and they have that cold temperature advantage. My only problem is that I'm not so sure how the rest of the team could perform in the playoffs. We know Aaron Rodgers has it. We know that he'll perform. But if they're all clicking on the same page, the Packers are a very dangerous team, and they're a team that has been overlooked in the NFC for quite a while. So it is not so much Aaron Rodgers because we know that he's got it, but is his team going to be able to support him in the playoffs? Home field is something that also the Packers benefit off of greatly. Again, I predict for them to win the NFC North. If the Packers support Aaron Rodgers, they have a chance to make the playoffs very interesting. Do I think they're going to win the Super Bowl, though? No, I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl, but I think that they could have a deep playoff run if the team supports him, and that's what I'm worried about. So if I'm going with a prediction, I'm going to say the Packers don't get very far in the playoffs because I'm not quite sure the team is going to support Aaron Rodgers. But if they do, bank on the Packers making it interesting. The Minnesota Vikings. Are 8-4, and they are currently a NFC wildcard holder. The rest of their season looks like the Lions, Chargers, Packers, and Bears. And again, whatever happens in that Packers game happens, but they should easily win all of the other games in this division. And I'm banking on them fighting hard, but still holding on and securing that wild card that they and Seattle have been holding for a majority of the season. The Vikings are a good team. They're a very good team, but they will not do anything in the playoffs. Kirk Cousins, to me, has not been a prime time spotlight quarterback, and that's shown over the years. I think that they play a tough defense in the playoffs. The Vikings will get absolutely shut down. They're a very good team, but I think that they're overshadowed by a lot of teams here in the NFC, and I think that the other teams in the NFC are going to make things very difficult for the Vikings, and I'm not banking on them going very far in the playoffs. They are a very good team, and they have a chance to surprise you, but I don't think Kirk Cousins is really you're going to get that 350, even miraculous 400-yard game out of him that I think that they will need to win. Again, they have the playmakers. They have an amazing running back. They have a great wide receiving core. They have a good defense and a good secondary. But the team Kirk Cousins has to step up, and that's the guy that they're going to be banking on in this. The New Orleans Saints, prior to the season, was my pick to win the Super Bowl. I still think there's a very good chance they could be there, but it's looking very tough because the Saints are currently, to my knowledge, I believe they're 10-2, and they lead the NFC South, which will not change, by the way, because the NFC South is a bag of chips. Week 14, this is probably going to be their toughest game of the season, and we're going to learn a lot from this one. The 49ers, they have. Week 15, they play the Colts. Week 16, the Titans, and Week 17, the Panthers. So the thing is that the Saints are good, but they're also playing a bunch of teams that are hungry late in the season. They are playing the 49ers tomorrow, and that is going to be an absolute insane game, and we're going to learn a lot about the Saints from that game. They could be the Super Bowl favorite if they are to destroy the 49ers defense, and we will see where it is that takes us and where that game goes. Week 15, they play the Colts. The Colts are obviously still trying to fight for an AFC wild card. I don't think it's going to happen. but they also are still trying to fight that. Week 16, the Red Hot Titans will be playing the Saints. That will not be an easy game for the Saints. They're also trying to fight for a sliver of chance of the AFC South Division title or AFC wild card as well. Week 17, they close out against the Carolina Panthers, and that should be a blow-away game. The Saints have a tough schedule against a couple of hungry teams looking to make a name for themselves late in the season. The New Orleans Saints in the playoffs have a very deep chance at a very deep run and a potential Super Bowl victory. Their defense has to be a little bit stronger. Home field, they do great. Drew Brees will be great. Michael Thomas will be great. The run game has to be consistent, but their defense is going to have to be just a bit stronger. If their defense can bolster and this team can all click on one, the Saints should. Well, I'm going to get to my next two teams. The Saints should be in the NFC Championship game at least. The 49ers have shocked the hell out of everybody this year. With their level of play as the most amazing defense in quite a while and the best defense in football. They are currently 10-2, if I'm correct. And they've got a schedule that could be a bit interesting. Week 14, they have the Saints. That's going to be a tough game. 15, the Falcons, throwaway. 16, the Rams, most likely a throwaway. And then week 17, the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I have a good feeling that the week 17 game between the 49ers and Seahawks will be for the division. If it is, that could... I don't even know if there will be a game that could even top the first game that they played. The first game that the 49ers and Seahawks played was just unbelievable, and it was so great that I don't think anything can top that. So we're going to see what happens. The 49ers defense is great, but can Jimmy Garoppolo, who does not have that elite playoff experience, can that team score and do what they've been doing all season in the playoffs? Well, that's the question. If they can, they also have a chance at a deep playoff run in a Super Bowl as well. The schedule will not be a problem for the 49ers. Regardless, they will make the playoffs, even if Seattle comes down to winning the division, which is very possible. But I would say that it's probably favored for Seattle to win the division on paper. Regardless, the 49ers will probably win some games and make a very deep playoff run, but I'm just not sold on them making it to the Super Bowl. I don't know what it is. I know they got the defense, but we have not seen Jimmy G in the playoffs. And a decent defense that will keep Jimmy G making mistakes is I think Jimmy Garoppolo could be the turning point in the San Francisco 49ers team in the playoffs as well. My personal favorite to probably make it to the Super Bowl is the Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson has been playing an elite, unbelievable way all year. Their run game is fantastic. Tyler Lockett's been great. Their defense has been very good, and they bolstered it throughout the season. To me, the Seahawks are the deepest team in the NFC, and not everyone's going to agree with that, but that's just how I feel. Week 14, they have the Rams, 15 Panthers, 16 Cardinals, and 17 49ers. Outside of that last game, the Rams could put up a fight, but I think the Seahawks are at an advantage of a semi-easier schedule. But reality is, both teams kind of have an easy schedule at this point in the season. I'm picking the Seattle Seahawks to go to the Super Bowl, and if they don't, they will be in the NFC Championship game and lose to the Saints. So I'm going to go with the Seahawks making it to the Super Bowl, and I honestly think if they play the Baltimore Ravens, it's going to be a classic. It's going to be a classic. The last team I'm going to review is the team that is on the outside wings of the NFC wild card, and that is the LA Rams. Who have been massively underwhelming all season long. And, if you ask me, the Rams don't really have a schedule that is really in their favor. They got to play the Seahawks Sunday. They got to play the Cowboys after that. Cowboys could improve. You never know. 16, they got to play the 49ers. 17, the Cardinals, who may just want to play spoiler. I know the Rams pounced over the Cardinals last week, but Again, the Rams look like they've improved a little bit towards the end of the season. I don't think they'll get the wild card just because the two teams that are in the wild card, whoever does not win the NFC West will obviously get a spot, and whoever does not win the NFC North is also going to get a spot. So, if the Vikings fall off, maybe the Rams could sneak in, but I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I just put them in here because they do realistically have a shot to make the playoffs. I don't see it. And I know I am not talking about the Chicago Bears because a couple good games by Mitchell Trubisky does not make them a playoff contender. I'm sorry, I hate to break it to you. The Eagles I didn't put on this list because they're just not a good team. If there's any team in the NFC that has a chance at anything in the playoffs, it's the Dallas Cowboys. So that's where I'm going with that. I hope everybody liked this. I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks to make it to Super Bowl. And I think that the Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens will be standing on the other side. I hope you like the previews and predictions. We're probably going to roll out with some Week 14 predictions coming right up for you. And thanks for watching.